with somebody else.
If you want this man to be involved in his kid's life, present yourself as a person that somebody would want to be around.
You say he's mistreating your child.
Yeah, he mistreats her.
Well, how do you lay down with a man who mistreats your child?
Ripped apart and still stuck in each other's hair, Miss Nazarene versus Mr. Rami's trial was a handful of dramas. Miss Nazarene brought her ex to court due to his deadbeat and ghosted status in her child's life. But the daddy testified otherwise, like this.
She's not the most easy person to deal with. There are definitely signs that were before she got pregnant.
When you say she's not the easiest person to get along with, what do you mean specifically?
Complete irrationality. The decision to be overtly angry, volatile, and violent.
The paternity rodeo begins with a relationship recap. And right in the start, it slipped out that the woman's stubbornness and arrogance drove them apart. Oof. We know that when this type of situation comes, moving out seems easy.
Mr. Rami, you claim Ms. Nazarene has done immeasurable damage to your life and career by her very difficult personality.
What happened to me being 7 months pregnant with a 1-year-old and you were gone for 3 years? Truth be told.
However, the baby mama cut him off and spilled the truth, as it seemed like Mr. Rami had always been a bonehead to her, as the defendant pursued his rap career over his family, which left mommy as a single parent.
This man has spent 17, almost 16 years ignoring his children while trying to pursue a rap career. That's the bottom line. Not trying to pursue his GED, not trying to go to college. I put myself 90 hours, 90 units through college, raising 3 children on my own. I've always done hair. This man does nothing.
By now, it was clear that both participants despised each other at the cellular level. If not, no one would normally care to act the way Miss Nazarene reacted at the young child's funeral.
My brother's oldest child and only son just died. He just turned 21, died on his birthday month.
And I also called you when you told me that I let you know I had a $700 electric bill and your son needed to go to summer school so that he could graduate on time. So I don't care about your brother's son. You don't care about your own son. Why would I care about your brother's son? Keep it 100.
As it was evident that that was a pathetic response, instead of apologizing for her inhumane actions, baby mama decided to hold on to her brutality and she continued her scrapping. So Judge Lake jammed her and articulated the reality like this.
If you want this man to be involved in his kid's life, present yourself as a person that somebody would want to be around. You're a beautiful lady, and I'm keeping it real with you. You accuse them of caring more about a dead child than a living child.
Care about children
because they're unnecessary.
Once again, the car part hyped up. As the testimony was moving forward, Judge Lake was getting more furious. However, while explaining the incident, the defendant revealed that Miss Nazarene knocked him out.
I take the car out there. She wants to have a discussion with me. She wants to yell and argue with me.
Okay.
I'm not going through that anymore. So I tell her that I'm leaving. At this point, I'm living with my parents. She decided to punch me in the face.
Lie. That's a lie.
And
that's a lie.
After she punched me in the face, the exact quote, I'll never forget it, which was, "Hit me."
He's a liar.
Oh my! Somebody please teach this woman to be quiet. Not taking the cue, the plaintiff could not stop interfering in the situation, which infuriated the judge, and she had to hop into the situation. Yeah, Judge Lauren, all hands up. We admit that too.
What I also get from you, though, is part of what you said today is true. Ms. Nazarene is difficult.
And I have every right to be dealing with a deadbeat who abandoned me with 1 baby and a 7 month in the womb.
Did I ask you to let me finish?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah, both man and woman needed the advice, so the judge honored herself and schooled them for their kids. I hope after this, things would have made sense to them and stopped making things worse for each other.
If there's anything that's going to infuriate a mother, it's for somebody to give a mediocre effort when it comes to their kids. You can stand there looking as handsome and as smart as you can be and say, I never promised her anything, I'm a writer.
Miss Nazarene was a mouth breather, and her testimony was not helping to resolve the conflict, because her rage diverted her concern from her kids to the personal problems she had with Mr. Rami. So she needed a bell to remind her of the motive she signed up for in this court.
You have got to love the children more than you hate each other.
I don't hate him.
You have to, and you don't even hate him. You don't have to keep barking and barking. Raise your hand in this room if you don't think she took care of her kids by herself. Who's raising their hand? Nobody, because everybody in this room knows he didn't do anything.
However, it was evident that nonstop drama annoyed Judge Lake, but nothing could stop Mommy. Oof, gotta say, she got on my nerves too, because she kept shouting to the core.
I'm gonna wrap this up because I can see right now this isn't about the kids. This isn't about the kids.
Good.
This isn't
Sound
about the
good.
kids
Sound
because
good.
this is about condemning him. This is not gonna end today, and this is much deeper than this court can solve in this one session.
Good.
I want you to consider letting him see the kids tomorrow.
Finally, Judge Lauren had to be dismissed and tried to set things up between them. She advised them to act upon one-word answers instead of a long conversation, or they might end up in another dispute.
Just say, hey, what time? That's it. And then if you could just give him a time, nothing else, and then you just say, I'll be there, and then
I have my hat.
be there. Can you do that?
Yes.
Can you do that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Callous indifference to a baby girl made Miss Martin stand against Mr. Dampier in front of Judge Lake. She asserted that the defendant was the worst man who had not entirely accepted her daughter and treated her like crap, whereas the man opposed the mommy and accused her of being scandalous.
Mr. Dampier, you say Miss Martin was a serial cheater with a stable of men in her rotation. You say you have evidence that proves Miss Martin was stepping out on you, and there is no way you are Amaya's father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
The trial began on this note. The baby girl testified through video, and Mom stated that her daughter was hurt because her daddy mistreated her like she meant nothing. That sounds disgusting.
Amaya has told me on numerous times that she's sad that her dad don't love her. She did a video testimony of how she feels.
Dad is mean because he always makes me sad.
How does that make you feel?
He always makes me sad. I'm mad because my dad always makes me sad.
That's awful.
Yeah.
It came out that he didn't treat the baby with affection and love because he felt she was not his daughter, as Miss Martin had been cheating on him. Ugh, that's awful. No child should be paying for their parents' wrongdoings.
I feel I'm not the father. Amber's always messaging guys. She texts guys all the time. So I feel I'm not the father. I mean,
You are her father, and you know it. She looks just like you. I've never cheated on you, Anthony.
Further, the defendant tried to frame his girlfriend in the deceiving part, but the plaintiff revealed that he himself was the CEO of the promiscuity, as he had not one or two, but 6 girlfriends at once. Hence, he admitted the claims.
Through our relationship, he wasn't honest. He was texting other females. He was talking to other females. He had 6 other girlfriends at the time.
So your testimony is that Miss Martin is a cheater,
Yeah.
even though we pretty much established that you running for president in that club.
Even though Mr. Dampier confessed, he did not stop playing. He stated that he had multiple reasons for denying baby Amia. He claimed that he had caught Miss Martin red-handed. However, it sounded like he was just bluffing nasty stuff to defend himself.
one instance she came home late and I was messenger calling her like she never didn't respond. And then when she come home, her hair all messed up, smelling like sex.
Wait, what?
I respond like, where you been at? She didn't have no proper excuse for where she been.
These are all his insecurities.
The man alleged that he had a shred of concrete evidence to prove that baby mama was the sore cheater. This time, he had brought the screenshots as his backup plan. As you know, guys, screenshots never lie.
Other man says, come pull up and sit on my face. I want blank for breakfast. Miss Martin says, where you at? Same house? Other man says, yup, so you coming? Yup, on the way, be there in 20. What's that emoji down there?
That was just conversation.
Miss Martin's text exchange proved her promiscuity, but this was not it yet. Up next, when Judge Lake calculated the conception date, it turned out that the potential daddy had the right doubts. But still, it doesn't give anyone a pass to mistreat a baby.
Date of intercourse, January 7th. The dates on those, the first set is January 3rd, and then the second set is January 29th and February 1st. That is right in the window of conception.
Exactly.
It is,
same
but
time.
I've never cheated on you, and you know that.
Furthermore, the mommy stated that when he came to know about her pregnancy, Mr. Dampier stepped back. Meanwhile, the reason for denial from the defendant will sweep you off your feet. so Judge Lake had to stop him like this.
When I found out I was pregnant, I let Anthony know I was pregnant, and his reaction, he was not thrilled.
I had other kids. I had 2 other kids at that time.
Okay, we were having sex without using condoms. What happens when you have sex without using condoms? A baby can occur.
Though they were separated and had a lot of drama, they did not stop conducting sexual activity. This triggered Judge Lake. Yeah, Judge, we're on your side. How could a woman sleep with a man who treated her baby girl so poorly?
I wish I've never met him.
Where are you all in a relationship now? Are you still together?
I don't know, he's with me when he wants to be.
We're not together.
Are you still having sex?
Yeah, we had sex last night.
You say he's mistreating your child.
Yeah, he mistreats her.
Well, how do you lay down with a man who mistreats your child?
However, Mr. Dampier said that the plaintiff herself told him that he was not the father of her child. Later, it turned out that the defendant bashed mommy ruthlessly in front of her daughter. So out of rage, she framed another guy in the picture.
She showed me a picture of a guy and said, "This is Amaya's dad." They look more alike than me and her. They resemble each other more than we do.
And you admit you did it, Miss Martin.
I did.
So what are you trying to get from this?
And I apologized to him for that was disrespectful. Like, he had really made me mad after mistreating my child.
Wow, they were infuriating Judge Lake. And as you know, when a woman injects herself with the tease of paternity, no one can discard that. So Judge Lake gave them a reality check like this.
How do you expect him not to doubt after that? When a woman says, you're not the father anyway. Well, the man's never gonna forget that. I don't care, 365 days, 10 years from now, he'll never forget the day you said, you're not the father, unless he has a DNA test.
Back and forth accusations were not helping in solving this paternity issue. So, Judge Lauren dismissed them and asked to get those results to settle this conflict once and for all. Let's peep if DNA test results would bring any change for baby Amia.
Mr. Dampier, you are the father.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, Amber.
Perfidiousness shattered trust, as you would see in this episode. Mr. Miller dragged his trollop girlfriend into the court, asserting that Miss Troutman left him when another man came in the picture. He claimed that yet he took her back and continued their sexual relationship. But abruptly, she dropped the bomb of her pregnancy, which raised the paternity question.
Ms. Troutman, you admit to leaving Mr. Miller for another man and to having a 2-week affair. Claim you left because Mr. Miller wasn't taking care of you. You're also fed up with his mother, Mrs. Miller, and has convinced the plaintiff that he is not your baby's father.
Yes.
Baby mama said that if the plaintiff had taken care of his responsibilities and did not neglect his family, then he would not have been in this chaotic situation. She asserted that rather than the alleged father, his mommy had supported her.
Well, I wouldn't have been sleeping around with other men if he was doing his responsibility as a father and taking care of his girls and me also. He wasn't buying diapers, wipes, clothes. His mother was the man of our relationship. She put a roof over our head. She took all of us in.
As the trial proceeded, it was revealed that they had 2 children together, but the second baby was in question. The alleged dad claimed that his doubts ignited when mommy brought another man into their life right after he moved out of town.
I do have doubts.
Why?
I go out of town, and I came home, and I seen her with another guy at the Plasma Center. He was holding my firstborn. I said, "Who's this guy holding my kid?" And she said, "Oh, that's my boyfriend." I'm like, "Really? You know, I go out of town for a week, and you already have another boyfriend."
Whereas the defendant denied the claims and told her side of the saga. It slipped out that they broke up when Mr. Miller left. So to explore for comfort and love, she started messing with some other man. Whoa, but I don't think anyone has quick service like you.
I was upset when me and him got into it. I was lonely. I was looking for some comfort. And he
After
showed
one
me
fight.
that comfort.
Ms. Troutman, you admit that during that time, you were intimate with another man.
Yes.
Was that the only man you were with during
No,
that
that
time?
is not the only guy that I was with.
Further, Miss Troutman stated that her relationship with the plaintiff was not A1. They always had ups and downs, and this wishy-washiness led her to mess around with other men. After this, bluffing triggered Judge Lake. Yeah, ma'am, we ain't buying this saga at all.
I got tired of the arguments between him and his mom. My kids are hearing all of this.
And you were so disgusted by that,
That
you
I
ran
left
out the house,
and
slipped on a banana peel, and landed in the bed with somebody
no,
else.
I called.
As this couple had enough drama, still it was not over. Furthermore, it slipped that Mr. Miller and Miss Troutman stooped so low that they had triplex sexual activity. That's nasty. How could they do anything like that?
There was a time we was sitting in the car and he went through her phone like we didn't know what he was doing, or transferred some of her photos from her phone to his.
So this is an interesting fact. Miss Troutman, don't write a check that later you can cash.
Nonetheless, things were getting nasty, and their testimony was bringing more drama into the courtroom. So Judge Lake schooled them for their good and revealed the DNA results for the closure they needed to put this dispute to an end.
You all are experimenting and enjoying life, and no, you have responsibilities. Mr. Miller, you are not her father.
Hey.
Hughes was standing between his mother and the mother of his child, confused about which side to pick, as Grandma was persistent that a Radcliffe guy was tapped in the paternity of the child, too white to be his.
That baby white as snow. There's no way that could be my grandchild or my son's baby. He has no features like none of us. Nobody in my family looked like that.
And just by looking at this child, you've determined and said to yourself,
He's
I do not believe that's my grandchild.
That can't happen. There's no way.
You heard the bubby? Stuck on no way. Because according to them, Miss Jackson had all the T qualities that were more than enough to fool her innocent son.
This woman is trouble. She is trouble with a capital T. I call her the 3 T's. Trash, trouble, and trifling. That's what she is. The little boy looks nothing like my son or any member of my family at all.
Yeesh, Miss McBirth was really non-negotiable about paternity. And the worst part was that she wasn't even trying to hide her hatred toward the defendant and her son. Even the baby mama knew that her child's looks were coming in the way.
So why do you think she's in so much doubt over your child?
I have no idea, to be honest. Maybe because he is so white.
Because he all the white. He ain't got no black in here. Everything I see got powder puff on it. I don't see no chocolate nowhere, okay?
No, ma'am.
Whatever.
Up next, while Miss Jackson was telling the court how she was committed to the plaintiff's son, she got interrupted by the aunt of her child, saying that baby mama was just a side chick.
All she basically was for him was a snack cake on the side of his meal.
Thank
there
you.
was nothing more.
Thank you. A side chick.
And all she has done is she's been trying to put the baby on us.
She wants me to acknowledge that child is my son. That's not gonna happen.
No, I think she's more so obsessed.
Wait, why are they going like try to pin the baby on us and not our baby? Isn't this whole thing about the baby and the parents? Why are they stepping and giving verdicts like this?
It's because that's my last name.
And so hold on now, if you don't think the child is his, why would she be trying to change the name?
We've been trying to change the name a couple weeks ago, even we talked about it.
Miss Jackson's baby's last name was interesting. Well, in her defense, she still carried her ex-man's name. And since no one was listed as the father on the birth certificate, the baby automatically got her name.
Was he there when you had the baby?
No.
There was another guy, that's why.
There was nobody else there but my mom and my sister.
I'm sick of all these little hookers trying to say my son is the daddy. I'm sick of it. I get babies dropped off here, dropped off there. I'm sick of it.
The sassy grandma and auntie duo further added that the defendant was so fast that the cops often busted her house parties. And it was not hard to imagine what was going on behind her walls.
She's a liar because you just had a wild sex party that got shut down by the police station last week.
Nah,
yes, it is. It is true. Why is your neighbors complaining about the sex that goes on in your household?
There was no sex going on. No,
ladies.
A whole lot of finger pointing and name calling going on here, right? But it's easy to blame someone else. And the judge pointed this out rightfully. However, Miss McBirth didn't like it when the judge shoved a little truth in her face, and she condemned Judge Lake like this.
He's a handsome guy, and I know what he do. But he's still, no matter what he do, he's still gonna be my son.
So hold on one second. Just take a look at the monitor. When you look at this picture,
it make me want to throw up.
It seems like your son is kissing the baby. It makes you want to throw up.
It makes me want to throw up because it's a lie. Because it's not his.
It doesn't matter, really, if he's showing the child love.
It's not his.
What on earth? What is this woman high on going after an innocent kid like that? Regardless of the doubt, no child deserves to be treated like this. Anyway, Now it was time for the alleged daddy to testify.
I just gave him the benefit of the doubt because I'm biracial. My father's white.
That child is not my son. She got men coming and going in and out of her house.
My father's a blonde-haired, blue-eyed dude, so.
How you know? He just gonna say that because, you know, she gonna freak him after this.
You're accusing your brother of not having enough sense to testify as to his own experience?
In the course of the trial, it was revealed that little Elijah was also calling other men daddy. Though the defendant affirmed it, she also testified that the baby boy was doing it out of puzzlement. All right, fair enough. However, for the plaintiffs, it wasn't fair at all.
Do you know how many times a girl has said, this is my son's child, this one? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm sick of it.
McBirth is speaking the real truth of what she's really frustrated about.
Every time I look around, it's a baby here, it's a baby there. And I'm the one stuck helping, gotta feed them, take care of the clothes, and keep them while the mom and daddy either go to work or run the street. I'm sick of it.
Clearly, Big Mama was more frustrated over having babies here and there, and she ended up taking care of them. The bummer was that she was taking it out on the child. If the result comes opposite from the claims, she handles it well.
Mr. Hughes, you are Elijah's father.
No! That's a lie! That's a lie! That's not true! You a lying trick. What did you do? I'm through. I know that's a damn lie. I know that's a damn lie. Somebody fix it.
We're gonna get somebody fix it.
Mr. Johnson, playing full-blown daddy just recently, found out about the other possibility and bumped over being duped. Baby Mama wasn't sure herself, but as the child grew, things became clearer.
She was telling me, you know, 1 minute that, oh yeah, you're the father. Then the next minute she's telling me, a couple years down the line, that I'm not the father, you know? I'm kind of confused here. I don't know what to think.
You lying.
How am I
Ms.
lying?
Owens, did you tell him at any point that he was the father and then change it and say he wasn't?
Go ahead.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
All right, I'm not liking the way they started. However, Ms. Owens told the court how she was stuck in paternity dilemmas, as one of the potential fathers had died, while the other wasn't her best pick.
When my son was around 6 months, when we was together, living together, we both noticed that he started looking like the other dude, which is Dwayne.
You had this discussion.
Yes.
The more the kid grew up, the more he turned to look like the other guy. Then what next? Well, it got revealed that the sassy mama had Mr. Johnson rushing to the hospital and signing the birth certificate, even though she had doubts.
Did you believe at that time he was the father?
Yes, I knew in my heart that he was, because I was in love with this little fella at one point.
So you slept with somebody else,
Yeah.
but you just weren't considering it. You put your focus on him.
Thank you.
Right.
Wow, I love when a judge puts the truth like that. So while judging one with discovering what had really gotten down, both participants were more focused on bashing each other like this.
Don't believe her, man.
No, he didn't come
I'm
to
a
a
woman,
lady. First of all, I will make the decision as to what I believe.
Changing diapers, feeding them,
The
while
diapers
she was
that
laying on her
have-
fat you know?
Oh, wait. Now you have to watch your language.
I'm just saying, that's okay, Your Honor, because it is fair. You know, that's okay.
Ooh, the judge does not like people who act like that. And I don't blame her, because she is running a courtroom, not a circus. Which the judge made quite clear, as she had realized that these goofy folks had no idea what was at stake.
You all got a lot of jokes on something that really is quite sad.
Well,
because
he's a
what
joke,
we're trying to
Yana.
figure out, either you're this child's father or potentially the child's father is deceased. And this court cares about Dakari.
I do too.
Dakari was in trouble because his parents were too busy acting like children themselves. But anyway, as the judge asked the baby's mom why she never eliminated the other guy from the potential list, her answer led to rabble in the courtroom.
You admit that you had sexual relations with Mr. Tyson.
Yeah, I never.
And when you found out he passed away, had you buried it back in your mind so far that he could potentially be your child's father? Oh my goodness, this could be my child's father that passed away.
Well, shut up and quit talking. You can hear something with them little bitty ears.
Go ahead.
Every question, every inquiry seemed like vain. It was a bunch of loose ends and nothing concrete, missing vital information, going back and forth. Judge Lake was just stuck in a mess.
Okay.
How could that not be in your mind?
Little
you had
one,
sex
can you,
with him.
little one, can you
had
calm down?
sex with him.
Pipe down, little one.
You had sex with him. How could that not be in your mind?
Sit, dog.
How could that not be in your mind?
Whoa, the little fella? Doggy, what? Are these people out of their minds? All no squabbling like that would make anyone go sore, and Judge Lake was no exception.
Ridiculous you look right now. Both of you. All of this, little one, have a seat. You're not making anybody look bad except yourself. No, I'm addressing him next.
Oh,
So the point, no. Let's get this straight. I address what I want to address in the order I want to address it.
Oh boy, you gotta see this, man. These people. All this hokey pokey has come to an end for good because there was a child who deserved to know the truth. So let's get to that.
Mr. Johnson, you are not his father.
There it is.
Based on the testing results, the probability of relatedness is 99.99%.
Miss Hanger's messy fiasco caused her already paying child support baby daddy to believe that he was duped into paternity by default, and now was looking for a way out.
No, I don't believe it.
You're blind, dude. You're blind. That's point blank, you're blind.
A medical professional at all giving me the opinion that you were pregnant would have been good too. But I mean, like.
And so wait a minute. Just let me understand this situation. I don't know how you two even ever had sex. The way you two are acting.
While the eccentric young man was in a legal brawl right at the beginning of the trial, the plaintiff had to make it clear that even though he was listed as the father, the defendant was doing nothing for her daughter.
He's a spoiled, rotten, arrogant brat, point blank. He won't even admit that she even looks like him when she's identical to him.
Just because you frame her up there and put her next to my family, that's not actually a DNA test.
So let's get to being named father by default. Mr. Babbitt was served paternity trial papers. Being the cocksure man that he was, the defendant signed them without reading them. And now we're standing in court blaming baby mama for it.
Oh, you look confused, period. And you look like you got a smart mouth. And you think you know too much, but what you should have known was to bring your butt to court. Then you wouldn't be here.
Thank you.
Now you can get smart with me if you want, Mr. Babbitt. Let me tell you something, Mr. Babbitt. You can get smart with me if you want to. You're gonna lose every day of this week.
Oh, he just rubbed Judge Lake the wrong way. Standing, acting all obnoxious, not taking responsibility, and running a smart mouth while there's a baby in question. That doesn't work on Lake's watch.
But every time I ask you a question, you have something smart to say.
We're not getting.
Now hold on. Do not question what I think you look like. I'm here to ask questions. You're here to answer them. Now, whether you have animosity towards Miss Hanger, that's your personal feelings, but what you're not gonna do is take them out on me.
I'm sorry, I was just trying to tell the truth.
No. Yes, you are sorry.
Finally, the man is sorry about something, so at least there's that progress. But anyway, it turns out that his real doubt stemmed from the plaintiff being sexually involved with her roommate, but baby mama denied all such accusations.
Person you were sleeping with?
Yes, I had not slept with anybody else prior.
Anybody else but Mr. Babbitt during that window of
months.
time.
Oh, you were sneaking out in the middle of the night doing something.
I was not sneaking out anywhere. The
crawl over
only
me
time
and
I'd
not
get out
wake
of
me
bed is
up.
to go to the bathroom.
Yes, and you wouldn't come back for an hour.
So you would be asleep and then she would climb out of the bed and not come back for an hour?
Yeah.
Contradiction and denial both often join together to give rise to paternity doubt. However, Mr. Babbitt was there for the first doctor's appointment, but when the reports didn't give a clear hint, the guy just vanished into thin air, leaving the plaintiff alone.
That's great. Maybe they have you committed because you have to be crazy if you think I'm coming up there for a baby I don't believe is mine.
Because I never proved to him that I was pregnant.
Or you might have been up there doing something in the hospital, not pregnancy related, and then saw a new, like, here, I'll give you $10, let me take a picture with the kid.
I had an emergency C-section the second time I got induced.
Oh, Mr. Big Mouth, that there's no way to treat a woman, let alone your own potential baby mama. And FYI, the guy tried playing excited dad for a bit, but it was too much for him.
He laid his head on my stomach. He asked me what I was naming her and stood in the middle of her nursery.
Yeah, I walked in
and
there,
that
I was
makes
like,
you
I still don't
emotional.
hear a heartbeat.
Why are you
did.
feeling emotional, Miss Hanger?
That my daughter has to go without her father because I went through that.
You brought a witness today. Give you a moment to compose yourself.
Ugh, I feel really bad for the mommy if the DNA result comes saying he is the father. She'll have to put up with that thing across the podium. And guess what? His father was testifying against him. Why am I not shocked?
This is a picture of
my baby picture.
Of your baby picture on the
Correct.
left
And
and Chloe's baby picture on the right.
Chloe has so many tendencies, looks, and mannerisms as Royce does. You know, he's got an older boy, and we've gone down this road before. And
the first thing, step up,
the
I moved my wife
second
in.
one here, we are with Chloe.
And my son.
This Cam can do nothing but blame others to get his way. Arguments for the sake of arguments. Anyhow, it was about time for both results to be read.
Did you have sexual intercourse with your roommate after March 2013? You said no. The lie detector indicated deception.
That can't be. No, something's not right with this. I swear on everything.
Mr. Royce, you are her father.
I guess.
Severe genetic disease and denial from the father had taken a toll on this baby's mama. The woman has been left with no choice but to opt for a DNA test to get her child the attention and support he needed. Let's hear the plaintiff.
He don't want to take financial responsibility. He hasn't been there. He wasn't there through my pregnancy. When I had the baby, my baby, he wasn't there. For his surgery, he wasn't there. I've contacted him. I tried to let him know, and there was still nothing, no response.
So you're saying that Mr. Tuzzi hasn't shown any care, concern about...
He's never even seen my son.
Mr. Tuzzi hadn't even seen the child for once. That's strong denial. I mean, you did sleep with her, didn't you? Well, apparently the baby boy was too white to be his. Come on, his mother's white.
One time, and that was it, and I realized the baby just don't look nowhere near like me. The baby looks way too white.
Give me the nature of this relationship, Ms. Renfro.
We met through mutual friends. It was sexual, and we talked about being in a relationship. When I found out I was pregnant, I took 7 pregnancy tests.
And at that point, you say Mr. Tuzzi just backed off.
Yeah, there was no contact after that.
Upon finding out about the child, Mr. Tuzzi's first reaction was, how is the father? Odd, right? When the judge asked the potential father about it, he testified that there was another man in the picture. Mr. Tuzzi had seen text messages from him.
You saw text messages which indicated that you may not be the biological father of a child, and you can't remember none of it? Do you remember being in a sexual relationship with Ms. Renfro?
Yes, I do, ma'am.
Do you remember not using protection?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember that's how you make a baby?
Yes, ma'am.
Further, the defendant claimed that he was sterile and none of his past relationships produced a baby. However, while the judge was having a hard time buying it, the plaintiff again brought in the health hazard.
My son has an issue with his stomach. He was born with what you call Hirschberger's disease, and it's passed through genetics. And none of my other kids have it. I had sex with him, I got pregnant, and my son had to have surgery at 6 days old. He had to have part of his intestine removed.
While the mommy was crying to find some closure for her child, Mr. Tuzzi was persistent that none of his family had any genetic disease, and baby mama should stop wasting his time. Go ask the real father.
I know who my kids belong to. I don't just lay down with everybody. I don't sleep with everybody unprotected.
Why would you have another guy signing the birth certificate?
Because he's been there. Like, he took on that role. That was his choice.
Whoa, quite a bump. There was another guy on the certificate bump who was already busy playing the daddy of the child. However, the baby mama claimed that he was looking out for him and his friend.
Ms. Renfro, you had another person sign the birth certificate?
My ex signed the birth certificate. He's still in my child's life. He still takes my son to the doctors.
Is your ex in the child's life because he could potentially be the biological father as well?
No, he loves my son.
So, Mr. Tuzzi, do you have this disease, Hirschsprung's? Do you have this?
No, Your Honor.
Looks like the judge wasn't liking any of the excuses the clueless father was putting forth, as he had no evidence to prove his point. But what happened next gave the case a new turn. And this happened while witnesses were giving testimony.
Mr. Tuzzi, he's a good guy. I don't think he's doing this purposely because, like he said, she was texting whatever, texting a guy. Well, there was like somebody that she had slept with around time, but it was she was protected.
Hold on, don't gloss over that. Don't talk so fast. You said there was a guy she had slept with during the time?
Well, it was a little before she got pregnant.
Ah, the guy was right all of this time. Miss Renfro was too busy making fools of all of us. Why would you leave out such an important piece of information, woman? Let's see how the judge was processing the revelation.
Your best friend remembers you were intimate with somebody else around the time. When she said it, you did not immediately say what you're saying is a lie, that is not true.
Stuff happens.
So you say stuff happened?
Yes, ma'am.
So what happened?
I messed with
How many
somebody.
men were you sleeping with when you conceived your child?
1.
After this, the judge moved on to the defendant, asking if his stance in paternity had changed. The irony was that his doubt had only gotten more robust since his initial testimony, while Miss Renfro claimed that her other entanglement was nothing but a hit and run.
I used a condom, so there is no other option. It's you.
But you were sleeping around, though.
I wasn't sleeping around. If we wasn't together, it don't matter who I was sleeping with.
But it does matter, though. I just don't want you to convince yourself of this lie. You understand that who you slept with during the window of time before Kendall was conceived is relevant.
Did you notice that there was a sudden shift in Miss Renfro the moment she admitted to being involved with another guy? Her "oh, feel bad for me" attitude was long gone. Furthermore, baby daddy claimed Mama was a gold digger who called back at him for being a deadbeat.
She's just trying to get money out of me. That's it.
You believe it's because you have 2 jobs and she knows that you were able to take care of the baby.
Right.
Me and my ex take care of him.
The ex is on the birth certificate, so he's the one gonna owe child support. I hope he knows that.
He knows.
Me too.
It looked like both sides were more focused on trying to prove each other wrong, and the child and his medical condition were something secondary. And when that happened, Judge Lake called for a concluding envelope.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Toozy, you are not the father.
Yes!
Oops.
Told you!
Oops.
Calm down, Mr.
Calm down.
Toozy.
So, who's telling the truth now? All that drama for nothing. Women have some guts coming and wasting the judge's time like that. I guess time for good schooling.
That is fine. I'm okay with that.
Do you know who is?
Yes, ma'am. If he wasn't the father, then yes, ma'am, I know.
Hold on. No.
You asked, I answered.
No, hold on. Cause you done got on my nerves now. And you
I never
cried,
asked
hold
you for
on.
anything.
You cried yourself a river in this courtroom, baby. All the time, never testifying to the whole truth. And that's wrong.
Of stress and pain brought this man to court to prove to his ex the paternity of the young boy, Mr. McDonald. While Miss Gooley not only denied it, but also admitted that she cheated on him during their relationship. The worst part of this story is that they both lost custody of their boy when he was just 1 year old.
So you've summoned your ex-girlfriend, Miss Gooley, to prove that you are the father of her 18-year-old son, Mr. McDonald.
Yes, Your Honor.
You cheated on Mr. Brooks all those years ago and are here today to prove that he is not the father of your son.
Yes, Your Honor.
The plaintiff started the testimony. He thoroughly shared all the moments he experienced on the baby's birth and was sure he was the father because he was present there all the time. Then the judge asked Miss Gooley about their relationship.
How long was that relationship?
10 years.
Was it a committed relationship?
No, Your Honor.
It was not?
No.
Did you consider yourselves boyfriend and girlfriend?
We were boyfriend and girlfriend, but I mean, I wasn't faithful.
During the pregnancy, did you ever tell Mr. Brooks that he may not be
No,
the biological father?
No, Your Honor, I didn't.
The defendant continued talking about the other man and said she believed that he was the real father, and also admitted that she wasn't faithful to Mr. Brooks at that time. The judge asked Daddy about the possible doubts, but he denied saying this.
When she told you she was pregnant, there was no doubt in your mind that you were the father?
No, it was one of the greatest days of my life when she told me she was pregnant. I've been having these pictures with me for 17 years. She don't have none.
These are pictures you've carried for 17 years,
Yes.
believing that you are Mr. McDonald's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
The judge asked him how he lost the baby, and he told that Miss Gooley called him to get the kids out of the house, and he did. But soon 3 police cars and DFCS pulled up. Oof, I didn't see that coming. The incident got more serious when the defendant cut him off and revealed another twist in the story.
Police car pulled up and defect. They told me they come to get the kids. You're not getting my kids.
They came and got the kids in the first place because Mr. Brooks is the one that called defects on me because he wanted to take my kids. He wanted to take my kids away from me. That's why defects was called. I know this for a fact because the lawyer that was representing my case told me.
Following their drug story, the plaintiff quickly blamed her, but the judge commented that still, one of them should have been there for the kid. Yep, she's right. Where was the other parent? Upon this, the defendant jumped up and said,
Ms. Gooley was struggling at that time with drugs and the children could not be with her. If the child's biological father was present and able to take care of him,
He would not legitimize my child. See, that's why I don't think he's the father. If he was the father, my mother was willing to pay for him to legitimize my son, then why didn't he do it? Because he was scared of that DNA test because he is not the dad.
Then the judge asked him of the moments when he last saw his baby, and he said that 2 officers grabbed him away from the kid but didn't arrest him. Then the judge turned to the defendant and asked her about the time of revealing the other possibility, and she told this.
As soon as that baby came out my stomach, first thing out my mouth was, is he yours? He is an excellent person. But you know what? Truth be told, after 10 years of us being together and not using condoms or any kind of protection, why did I get pregnant?
You don't believe Mr. Brooks can even father a child?
I don't think so, no.
After that, Mr. McDonald was brought in and the judge asked him some questions, and he said that he believed Mr. Brooks was his father. He also revealed that another man reached out to him and claimed his paternity. Upon this, the judge again asked the defendant of her denial, and she gave this reason.
You know, and he's up here like he wants to be this great father and everything. He ain't done nothing for Demarion since Demarion's been back in our lives. He sitting up here like trying to fake the funk and stuff, you know.
I ain't faking
yes,
nothing.
you are. You didn't even want to go take your son downtown yesterday. I did it.
The young boy was sitting in the court with the hope to find his real father today. All 3 lives were hanging on a thread for so long, but it was time to read the results to settle things once and for all.
It has been determined by this court. You are his father.
All right. Thank you.
A disturbing marriage along with paternity doubts appear in the court to find the identity of their son. Plaintiff shared that his wife admitted another possibility after 3 years of their baby's birth, and the defendant claimed that Mr. Pickett had also cheated with 8 women before.
Mr. Pickett, you claimed that when your son turned 3, the defendant, your wife, admitted to you that you may not be his biological father. Now, Ms. Pickett, you admit to stepping out on your husband and cheating around the time that you conceived your son. Am I correct?
Yes.
The plaintiff said that after his vacation, he kept seeing the same guy around his wife's place a couple of times. Then she told him about the pregnancy. Upon confronting him, she denied it. Next, he talked about his other trip in detail.
Her friend was dating my friend. He told me that the other guy that was there was for Shanae. So
it was one of those type things.
It was one of those type of things. Now this extended vacation is over. I'm back again. I'm playing daddy. I love my kids. That's why I'm here today.
Then the plaintiff explained that he wanted to play his daddy duties, but suspicion stopped him, and the defendant agreed that she did him wrong by cheating. And Mr. Pickett cut her off, saying that his son's early birth created doubt.
Yes, he does have a reason, but I did wait 3 years later to tell him, but I let him know, I stepped out and did something I shouldn't have done. It happened
I apologize
3
for
weeks
interrupting.
before.
3 weeks before, Your Honor, I got back from my vacation. She was messing with this dude. I said, okay, I'm gone. Then my son is born 3 weeks early.
So the wife admitted her mistake, but he still didn't believe her. But this lunatic man has all the talent in himself to tell his story. Then the plaintiff set the stage to explain how things went when she confronted him about her cheating.
This is my
That's how you did it?
I did just like this. And I was in short pants because we were supposed to go swimming, and I just lost the whole swimming mode. I was like, oh my God, oh my God. And then I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Whoa.
So the results of today's test are crucial for you.
Then the plaintiff continued expressing his love for his son, and the judge asked Mrs. Pickett's feelings, and she shared her regretful thoughts, but he cut her off, saying that they still got back together. For further details about their case, the judge asked the defendant's witness to speak.
She can't come enjoy time with me. She can't be at my mom. She can't be nowhere without him.
So you agree with that?
He never forgave her for what she did.
For one, I asked, he just don't accept no for an answer. I asked, can we wait until after I have the baby? No. Since you want to wait, that means you're hiding something. You got something to hide.
A man obsessed with kids this much would surely be controlling. After the defendant shared the fear that he also doubted the baby she was carrying in her belly, the judge took over it and asked the plaintiff's comments on this one.
Are you still cheating with other women?
Yes.
If you separated, there's no cheating. If we're not in agreement that we want to be lovers and you want to let your sister control your life, then I have to find somebody else that's going to love me.
Then the judge asked about her hopes, and she shared that she wanted a divorce and was tired of the doubts in the relationship. She made the right decision for her life. But the judge asked about his thoughts, and he again started his melodrama.
I really love her though.
But
Like, it's dudes that be like, I love you, I love you. I know I cheated. I really love her, like rings and everything. Can you just say, forget it, it's over? That's like the worst. Like, oh my God, this is not your son, or oh my God, you know what I mean? They're gonna be going crazy.
After listening to both of them, the judge knew that there was still some hope to save this marriage, even after all those doubts. What do you think about their future after the DNA outcome? Let's see the results.
Mr. Pickett, you are his father.
Oh yeah. Look, I got something for you. Hold on.
See, it's straight up. It's straight up. Young and stupid love always haunts you back with your mistakes. In this case, Miss Salvo wanted to prove the paternity of her daughter and wanted Mr. Gonzalez to be in the baby's life. On the other hand, he not only denied it, but believed that the plaintiff was very promiscuous and claimed that she slept with his best friend.
Ms. Salvo, you claim that around the time you conceived your 1-year-old daughter, you carried on a sexual relationship with the defendant, Mr. Gonzalez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Gonzalez, you argue that Ms. Salvo had sex with multiple men, including your best friend, and any one of them could be her child's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
The plaintiff said he refused to take care of their daughter and claimed that she only slept with Mr. Gonzalez once and shared her interest in Black and Hispanic men. It was bold to reveal. Then the judge asked the defendant about their relationship.
You've only had sex with Ms. Salvo one time?
No, Your Honor. It was more than 6 times.
So tell me about the nature of this relationship.
All right, I started off with her mom knew my mom. So we will go over, we'll drink, we'll watch movies and stuff. One thing led to another. We started kissing, we had sex. I was thirsty.
Did you use protection?
No, ma'am.
Ooh, that's a wild moment. But in your mom's house? After his statement, the plaintiff claimed that he lied about the number and admitted that she also was sleeping with her ex-boyfriend around the same time. Baby mama also shared that her daughter didn't resemble the ex, but with the defendant, and she proved it.
You claim Mr. Gonzalez has a dimple, and here, Amaya, I see that one dimple. So you believe this is the reason why she's ultimately his biological child?
Yes, ma'am. Boyfriend's kids, they have no type of resemblance. She looks nothing.
Did you test your ex at all?
I did test him.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, he is not the father.
If the possibility had got cleared, then why was Mr. Gonzalez still in doubt? Well, it was just one fragment of the case. But the judge asked the defendant more about the doubts, and he didn't stop, but had something else to entertain us.
My doubts is, I took my best friend over there to her house. 5 days later, he's Hispanic, Puerto Rican. He tells me, I'm sorry, Julio, but I gotta show you something. I'm like, what you mean you gotta show me something? He showed me naked pictures of Ashley like this.
Your best friend had naked pictures of Miss Salvo.
Yes, Your Honor.
It's freaking embarrassing to find this out from your friend. Hearing the story, the plaintiff quickly denied it and called him delusional. The judge asked again about his doubts, and he shared the sneaky actions of Miss Salvo.
One night I was over there, and I got my hair done and everything, and she went out to the mall. She took hours and hours, and I'm like, I'm not just gonna sit here and keep waiting, you know, for somebody. I started walking home. She calls me and she asked me why I left, because I felt like I was getting played.
Why did you feel like you were getting played?
She went to meet up with a guy.
And you know that for a fact?
Yes, ma'am.
Then the plaintiff defended herself, saying she didn't want to ruin her friendship with him, and shared that her ex had helped her financially during pregnancy. Miss Salvo further said she acted dumb at that age, and the defendant brought another doubted moment.
This is another doubt I got in my head. One night, we're all hanging out next to my mama's house. We're eating, partying, having fun. This Mexican guy looking mad at me like he want to fight me or something. I asked, Ashley, why that guy so mad at me? Why he looked like he want to fight? Oh, because he wanted to be the baby daddy, but I told him, you're the baby daddy.
It feels like she's not lying about that psycho. What do you think? After this, the judge asked the plaintiff about raising the kid, and she shared that her fiancé had been helping her, and the defendant cut her off and bragged about his responsibilities.
When that baby was born, got her formula, diapers, baby carrier, crate, everything.
What? A crate?
Excuse me. A baby where the baby sleeps.
A crib. So you got her a crib?
That's a bold-faced lie. He has not came out of his pocket not one single time. He bought 2 itty-bitty toothbrushes and some toothpaste for my daughter. That's it.
Didn't need to know much after crib or cradle confusion, but still, she exposed him there. After the plaintiff's statement, the judge brought in her fiancé, the real dad here, to ask him about the baby's duties.
Miss Salvo says you've been there to help her with the child.
I've been there since day one.
So what do you know about this situation?
I feel like I'm the daddy, but I don't even have no equipment to be the daddy. But I am the daddy. I buy the wipes, bought everything for her. Since I've been working, I've been buying diapers and wipes, buying milk. I buy everything.
After lots of freaky and accusing statements, the judge was ready to call for results to reveal the paternity of the innocent baby. Moreover, she was relieved that both men on the podium will give their love to the baby, so the DNA test was read.
It has been determined by this court. You are not the father.
Excuse me, Your Honor. Can I still come around, see Amaya, and help her out if I can? Because for a year and 4 or 5 months, she's been my daughter, and she's still gonna be my daughter.
He's asking if he could possibly remain in her life.
Please.
Yeah.
A confused 26-year-old woman appeared in court to dismantle the paternity frauds laid by her mother. She was told her mama's ex, Mr. Long, was her real father, but now she wanted some DNA proof, while the mommy stood firm with her claim. Let's see how things go in this one.
Ms. Robinson, you're back in court today because you say your mother, Ms. Harms, has continued to commit paternity fraud. She's now claiming her ex-boyfriend, Mr. Long, is your biological father.
Yes.
Ms. Harms, you say your daughter's suit has no merit, and today you will prove Mr. Long is her father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Robinson started the testimony by saying that she never got a straight answer about her father's identity. It had been a mix of 2 or 3 guys. However, the defendant refused to be painted as a villain.
I've always told her who her father was.
No, you haven't.
I've always, and I never kept any secrets from you.
Mom, you never told me who my father was.
My mom kept secrets.
Gave me names of who could be my father.
I've always told you from birth, sweetheart, that who your dad was.
You did not, Mom.
Your Honor, she refuses to believe me.
The plaintiff was told to express her feelings, and she said all her life she felt like there was a missing piece. But she promised herself that her kids wouldn't go through the same thing, and taunted Miss Harms for being promiscuous. Hearing this, the big mama couldn't stop herself from arguing.
I'm gonna give you like that. What do you mean talk me out of my panties?
But you let people talk. You
don't act like you wasn't out there doing wrong yourself.
It would have been times where I wouldn't have went in my room and said, I hate my mom. I wish she wasn't here. I can't stand her. If I had a father to run to, I could have got over that.
Miss Robinson continued that she was a famous athlete in her student era. She was a big deal, but at home, still she was alone and depressed. It sounds like a celebrity story, but all the pain is real. Then the judge asked the defendant to respond to her feelings.
I don't ask you who my dad is.
Saying I can never get a word in.
What lie is she telling?
If I didn't raise her, she wouldn't have or be who she is today.
You didn't give me to. I know
exactly. Just like
a
everything you have, I've given
because
you.
they took care of themselves.
Any new furniture, anything, I give everything.
That's just you giving me stuff.
Any
I didn't ask for it.
The mother-daughter duo was already broken, so the judge asked about their relationship, and the defendant said the plaintiff didn't let her meet the grandkids, which led to another brawl, as Big Mama said she told her about Mr. Long and he lived near them. But the poor girl asserted how a 10-year-old would do it all by herself, and the judge turned to Miss Harms for the answer.
I didn't even hear about him until I was 10.
Well, I told you always knew who your dad was.
Where was I gonna go at 10 years old?
Mr. Long, do you remember Miss Harms bringing Miss Robinson to see you and saying this is your father?
No, ma'am.
Have you ever seen Miss Robinson?
No, ma'am.
Well, he straight away denied her claim. How much of an old brain you got, man? But then Mr. Long said he believed about possible paternity because he had got a picture of the plaintiff from Miss Harms, and the defendant cut him off and cried that she had sent 9 pictures of the baby. So the judge let him continue his testimony.
So when she was first born, she sent you a picture.
Right.
Why does a woman send you a picture of a baby if she's not saying you the father?
Right. She didn't say I wasn't the father. She said I was the father, but I had doubt because, she was supposed to be sleeping with someone else, supposedly now. And then some more guys in the neighborhood. So that's where the doubt came in.
The judge turned to Miss Harms to reveal more, and she called him a double-faced liar for not owning up to their meetups at his house. Then Mr. Long replied to the judge that he knew about the pregnancy, but he lost contact with her.
I kept it like that because my dad was like, me being young, who's the dad? I'm gonna kill him.
You were taking the baby over to his house, or you were sending these pictures, but this was all in secret. You didn't want to tell your parents.
I told my mother. I kept it from my dad.
This poor woman's broken feelings got more strained because there weren't any strong clues from the alleged father, and she needed answers about her paternity today at all costs. So the judge moved forward to read the results.
Mr. Long, you are her father.
I told you I'm sorry. I told you I love you so much. Okay, go hug your dad.
A father brought his case looking for his long-lost daughter and hoped to finally be in her life. But the court found the alleged woman that could be his lost baby. Miss Bond, on the other hand, didn't believe he was her daddy. But today's DNA results will put a stop to Mr. Jenkins' search.
You reached out to the court to open a case. You believe that you have a long-lost daughter and hoped to one day find her to prove you are her father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
But she does not believe you are her father.
The defendant replied that she never heard of Mr. Jenkins in all her life, and none of the family members ever mentioned him, and he wasn't on the birth certificate. Okay, started very rough here. Further, she explained her denial in court.
Never heard of him. No one has ever spoken of him. I've never seen any pictures.
But you were raised by a man that you believe, you were told, was your biological father.
He died in a car accident in 1999 with my mother, and I believe that that was my father.
So, Ms. Bond, ultimately, you come to court today completely in the dark.
After Ms. Bond's testimony, the defendant explained that he had been on this search for 24 years and revealed that her mother was sexy as hell, and they were very happy with each other and talked about her pregnancy time.
When we was living together, I was going to the doctor with her. I got my first child. I got a girl. You know, I was just blown away. I was.
If you guys were so close and you were so in love and everything, why did it take you so long to find me?
I've been doing everything I can do.
The judge asked the defendant about her bringing up and replied that her maternal relative raised her, and the plaintiff admitted he knew someone was there for the baby. Things went smooth till the judge asked about the poor girl's experiences being an orphan, and she broke down all her traumas and loneliness.
You know, I didn't have anyone to talk to. I didn't have anyone, and I didn't have anybody. And I struggle, and I'm still struggling. I'm homeless.
No, you don't have to worry about this. If I'm a man, I'm gonna step up and do what I gotta do.
I made a lot of mistakes because I didn't have anyone there.
The plaintiff said he tried to meet her, but every time doors were slammed at him, and he showed the numbers he left for contact, but still no one helped him. While Miss Bond said she never heard anything from him. He seems truthful by the pain in his words.
I did everything that I possibly could do. Matter of fact, she wanted to get married. She had asked my mother to marry me. During the time I was still in college, let me get me a good education and get a good job before I make that step, because during that time I wasn't ready. I wish I did.
The judge asked him about the childbirth incident, and he said he visited the baby later with his mother after 2 weeks. Then the defendant was asked about the birth picture, and she denied seeing it.
I talked to her on the phone, and she said, in the next week or so, I'll let you see Andrea. I said, how she's doing? She's doing pretty good. A week later, I called her back at that number, and I had heard some bad news that she was in a bad car accident.
Oh my goodness.
The judge had taken all the possible answers from both of them. Every argument of the plaintiff was a missing piece of the puzzle. But it was time to reveal the truth to the innocent girl and the stressed father with the DNA results.
Mr. Jenkins, you are her father.
I love you. 24 years of doing footwork, and it paid off.
Yes,
Thank you, God.
Flames last more than our expectations. However, the irony is that even when they end, their ghosts come back to haunt us. And that is exactly what happened to Miss Luce. Her ex not only failed to step up, but ducked out childcare expenses worth $2,000.
Ms. Luce, you are suing the defendant for $2,716.86 back child care expenses for your son, Marley. Mr. Zuniga, you say you don't owe her a dime. Because you're not her son's father, you've petitioned the court for a lie detector test and a paternity test, but you claim to know who his real daddy is.
The plaintiff stated that though the baby daddy was present for the baby for the first 4 months, he suddenly disappeared from their lives, which left the mommy and baby stranded. And this made the judge ask Mr. Zuniga the reason for such abandonment.
First of all, Your Honor, I didn't feel like I abandoned him. At first, I never really thought the kid was mine. From day one, she seemed easy. We had sex the first day.
So, have you helped at all with Marley?
Well, yeah, I did. At first, I spent all my tax money. Last year, I got a substantial amount, and I spent every dime on him. I didn't spend one dime on myself.
The judge read all the expenses listed as proof and asked Mr. Zuniga about his doubts towards the plaintiff. And you won't believe the answer we got. FYI, his testimony was so dumb that even the judge had to correct him.
First of all, I never really knew her.
Okay, you slept with her, right?
I met her.
Oh, no, answer my
through
question.
A mutual friend.
You
Yeah.
slept with her, right?
Yes.
Did you use protection?
No.
Well, you know her now.
Yes.
Okay, proceed.
Well, I found out that she never really stayed in relationships long and that she liked to jump from guy to guy.
Then the judge asked the defendant about Mr. Zuniga's other kids, and it turns out he was somewhat sterile because the guy never had children in his previous relationships due to sports injuries. But the plaintiff cut him off, quickly defending herself against the doubts.
I was committed when we first started hanging out. I stayed at home with my godbrother, taking care of his kids until he got off work.
While I was at work, I asked her what she used to do. And she used to tell me she was going to her brother figure house and getting her moped fixed. That thing's probably still broke right now. To me, and she told me that while I was with her, she was cheating on me the whole time with her husband.
When asked about the allegations, the plaintiff admitted sleeping with a married man, but said there wasn't anything between her and their godbrother, and she only helped with raising his kids.
I honestly believe it's only because he thinks he's sterile and that he can't have kids. I gave him no reason to feel as if I was cheating on him.
What about right after you left me? How you got with that one guy from the park, and then right after that you started getting with the bouncer.
With a bouncer?
While you were with him.
No, I was only with two different people at separate times after I slept with him.
One-sided allegations were a dead end, so the judge asked the plaintiff about her witness, and to everyone's shock, she brought the defendant's mother to solidify her testimony. She claimed that her son resembled the kid and alleged the father cut her off to explain his mom's obsession with babies.
First of all, Your Honor, my mom, she's always wanted me to have kids. Once I got of age, I got older and started.
Oh my goodness, no, I didn't want him sleeping with nobody.
She told me herself that she was that age.
She didn't
to be a
even
grandmother.
speak to me after we found out I was
wouldn't even
pregnant
speak to
because she
her.
thought I was just a fling.
Because my son goes through women like toilet paper. I did not want to speak to her.
The judge asked the plaintiff about pregnancy, and she said that he was just present at the birth. Then the defendant said that he drove 3 hours to the hospital and signed the birth certificate, but later they lost it. So Mr. Zuniga's excitement about the birth led all of them into an argument.
He was throwing things around in the house. He was upset we couldn't leave right then and there to watch his son be born because his dad wasn't there. Were you not?
I was.
And you feel very emotional because?
Because he went through it. He went through it without a dad, and he's gonna have the same thing happen.
The more I see him grow up, the less he looked like.
Because he doesn't
matter.
know you. And he doesn't have to look like you. You don't look like me the more you grew up, but I knew you came from me.
However, the baby daddy still couldn't shake off his doubts, so the judge decided to reveal the outcome of the lie detector test about her sexual relationship with that married man during the conception dates, which the plaintiff had denied, and the judge read the results.
If you ever had sexual relations with any other man while dating Pedro, which is Mr. Zuniga, you said no. The lie detector determined deception indicated.
This time, nobody believed that she lied, but she did it. So after the lie detector results, the judge moved the case forward and permitted them a paternity test to end this game. She asked their final thoughts before the results, but instead of hoping, they just argued.
You were there from the start. You started out being a good dad, then you vanished. You abandoned your own kid.
I did more than anybody would have done regarding
You're acting
the
just
fact
like
that
your dad
she
when you
lied.
promised.
Mom, why are you so upset?
Because I went through this. I was her. This little boy didn't ask to be here.
The case seemed very simple from its beginning with the baby denial, but the lies of the plaintiff and the double-faced behavior of the defendant made things complicated. So the judge was ready to read the results.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Zuniga, you are his father.
Oh, thank you, Jesus. You tell your son.
Look at him.
Look at him. Maybe that's yours.
But you lied.
Yes, I made
All right,
a
we're
lie
getting over
compared
that.
to
We're getting
whatever
over
test
that.
says it. He is your son.
Say you're sorry.
But the test just proves that I was right.
A young, beautiful, but not entirely innocent girl brought the lawsuit to persuade Mr. McKinley, the defendant, that he was the father of her son. She also claimed that his reluctance to admit paternity was due to his petty wife. On the other hand, the supposed father asserted that Miss Thompson shouldn't bother his married life anymore.
Thompson, you are summoning Mr. McKinley to court to prove to him and his wife that he fathered your 6-month-old son, Legend.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. McKinley, you admit that Miss Thompson was an affair gone wrong. Miss Thompson needs to leave you and your wife of 17 years alone and find her baby's father. Is that correct?
The plaintiff said they connected on Facebook, and he was always following up on her activities on social media and called him a thirsty stalker and said that she ended up going out with him by choice.
So, I chose him to go out with. I dated him. We had rap in common because I rap, you know, when I write music, I sing. I took him to the studio. We spit some bars. Make a long story short, we ended up dating, having sexual encounters. And we had messed around. I wasn't sober enough to make the right decisions. That's a lie. I took advantage of that. That's a lie.
After the loud arguments by both women, the judge asked Mr. McKinley to tell his side of the story. He said that he wanted to see the studio he worked in, and he denied her, but she kept pinning him about it. This accusation led to more arguments and laughter.
So out of the blue, she just sends you a message and says, when are you gonna take me to the studio?
Yeah, to the
and you
studio.
don't know who this girl is.
Nah, I just knew she was one of my friends on Facebook. I could have been a plot she skinned on from day one.
He worked at the Goodwill. Why would I want him? He was in the donation thing before he got fired. Why would I want him? And he 2 decades older than me.
Well, why did you sleep with him if he was this broke? Nevertheless, when the defendant's wife was questioned by the judge about the relationship, she revealed that when she discovered them in a home, the plaintiff was lying under the covers. Ms. Thompson, though, clarified the circumstance.
One of the girls up there told me that my husband have a young girl in the room. So I went over myself, knocked on the door. So he opened the door. I went in there. She laying in the bed, under the cover.
Whose house was this?
I took the cover off her head. And I'm like, asking him, what's going on? He's like, well, we doing music. Sit down. I'm like, no, I won't sit down.
You doing music in the bed under the cover?
The plaintiff continued her statement, saying that he took her to the hospital, and she shared that there could be another possible father who got him upset. Ms. Thompson carried on explaining how much he still cared for her after the pregnancy news.
I'ma own up to my crap. So I said, okay, it's a chance that this might not be your child.
All right.
He was upset. He got in his feelings. This man is lying. Look at me. He was all up in my face. He spent money on me. He let me drive his car, and he didn't have no money for me. At the same time, I had fun enjoying his company.
So you went all
and I ain't have to spend no money.
A man with no
but
money?
he loves this child, and I know he does.
Ms. Thompson confirmed that the defendant was the father of the baby because of many resembling features, and showed proof of stacked toes to the judge. Further, she boldly confronted him to deny that proof.
I called him in the hospital on the second day because I looked at my child and I said, dang, man, I'ma own up to that. I did not want him to be the father, but my child sure do got a lot of features. This evidence shows that he has a stacked toe. I asked Terrell about my son. I told him about it. Oh, yeah, that's me. So if that ain't your baby, take your shoe off. Let me see your toe.
You want to see my toe?
Yeah, let me see. Take them off. You got on, did you put on socks today?
Both parties here are very strong with their proof games. Now the picture with the anonymous man sparked some fishy behavior from the plaintiff, and she defended herself by exposing the petty actions of his wife.
So how do you think they got this text if it didn't come from you?
This woman made a fake page. I have my page private. All of this that they doing is to make me look bad. But I'm really upset because I could care less if he in his life or not. I just want to know who the father is so I can get the help that I need because I'm struggling with my child. If you want to meet her, that's fine. But she don't got to tag along your coattail just to go see your child.
After lots of arguments, accusations, and lies, the judge was tired of listening to anything else. Moreover, Ms. Thompson was a strong woman, and today's outcome was very important for her to settle the baby's future. So she decided to read the results to calm the plaintiff and finish this war of foolishness.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. McKinley, you are the father.
A relationship under the pillars of infidelity and mistrust can't last long. But this woman sought to save her relationship with Mr. White by establishing the paternity of her daughter. But the defendant insisted that she was constantly lying to him and that the consequences would force him to leave their relationship.
All right, now, Mr. Wright, you say that Ms. Kane has repeatedly lied to you, and you have every reason to doubt the paternity of 1-year-old Ariana. That if the results of today's paternity test prove you are not the biological father, you plan to walk out of this courtroom and have nothing to do with Ms. Kane again.
The plaintiff said when they first started talking, she was hanging out with her ex, and upon clarification, she said she wasn't sleeping with the ex. But Mr. White cut her off, saying the real story was different.
I want to know why there's so much mistrust.
He called me to have me tow her car.
The ex did.
Told me it was his girlfriend. I went and got her car, towed her over to her house, you know, because she's my boy's girl. I was talking to her, told her what was wrong with the car.
So her ex is your friend?
Yeah, told me if I...
Now we're getting places.
Well, we were friends. We were friends.
The defendant recalled the day when the plaintiff went out with her ex, a friend and her ex's buddy, and the club's doorman informed him that the plaintiff was there on a double date. Ms. Kane then clarified what had happened.
One of my friends, she asked me to go with her to meet this guy, and my ex was there too.
Did you tell your boy, hey, I'm dating now?
She didn't want him to know that me and her were seeing each
Or
other.
is that because you were still sleeping with the ex?
No, my ex did not believe that him and I hooked up.
Did he not believe it because that was his boy and he didn't think his boy would sleep with you?
I don't know. He never really got into all that.
Now the plaintiff said that Mr. White's ex confronted her through Facebook and told her that they slept together. But the defendant argued that it happened after his breakup with Ms. Kane. and the judge praised their exciting foursome and asked about pregnancy reaction.
And now, Ms. Kane, do you believe he was sleeping with his ex too?
Yes, I do, because she would get a hold of me off of Facebook and tell me that they're sleeping together.
That's not true. Me and her have broke up, and yes, I've done stuff with my ex when we've been broke up.
It wasn't just when we were broken up.
Okay, you all see each other, but you also have relationships with your exes.
He fully played his inspector game perfectly. The plaintiff went on to say that she repeatedly told him directly in his face during a custody dispute that he wasn't the baby's father.
So, Ms. Kane, while you're pregnant, you tell him this may not be your child. This isn't your child.
Out of anger.
Out
Yes,
of
I
anger.
did. Yes.
So it was only out of anger because in your mind there's absolutely no other possibility.
Correct.
So he's a control freak and she avenges him. Classic battle. The plaintiff then explained that any comments she made regarding the baby's paternity were made out of rage. However, the accusation was eager and eventually revealed more messy behaviors by Miss Kane.
Me, her, and her friend had a threesome. She goes over to her friend's house to hang out with her friend and her friend's boyfriend. They're drinking. Her friend somehow gets her shirt off, her bra off, her pants halfway down.
No, it was not
all
around
this.
no.
And then she tells me she got uncomfortable, so she got everything back on and left. According to her friend, they had a threesome.
No.
And she's lying to me about that.
The judge was done with the dirt of their mess and their complaints. She further asked him about his role at the birth, and he replied that he supported the baby since birth, but didn't sign the birth certificate and shared his concerns.
I didn't sign the birth certificate because I told her before, I'm not signing the birth certificate because I have a doubt.
Yep, no father's name recorded.
You know, and then now she throws that up in my face. If she turns out to be mine, she's gonna keep that short when she's older.
Who said that?
He's the one that thinks that I'm gonna keep her and throw it up in her face, saying that he was a bad dad, he didn't want nothing to do with her, and all this other stuff. That's the reason why I keep it.
Their arguments were useless now, and the judge asked them to stop making everyone a fool. The defendant then admitted in court that he was confused about his likeness to the kid when she questioned him about it.
When you look at Ariana, do you see yourself? Do you feel like she looks like you?
You know, I think she looks like my family. But the problem is her family will sit there and say how much she looks like her other two girls, but then a week later say how much those girls look like their dad. That they don't look nothing like her. So that tells me that she looks like
So you're reading in between
too.
the lines,
right?
And you're not in the sentence.
Right.
These two idiots looking desperately for paternity had their actions mess up their relationship and the baby's life. In this dirtiness, the judge moved on to reveal the results and hoped something could save their future.
In the case of Kane v. Wright, pertaining to 1-year-old Ariana Wright, it has been determined, Mr. Wright, you are Ariana's father.
Divorce. Mr. Singleton arrived in the court when his wife dropped a bomb of paternity in the heated argument. He claimed that Miss Gray had never been truthful to him about her baby's paternity, and if DNA diagnostics prove that he was not the father, their marriage is over.
Mr. Singleton, you claim that your wife, Miss Gray, has never been honest with you about the child she claims is your daughter. During a heated argument, you claim she told you that you may not be the father of 3-year-old Ariana, and you've petitioned the court for a paternity test and declare that if you learn the child is not yours, the marriage is over.
Yes, Your Honor.
It was slipped that this case was cheaters cheating on cheaters. These people had to taste their own medicine, as the man had multiple women and the woman was into her ex.
I went through your phone records and I found you were talking to females 3 o'clock in the morning.
So, Ms. Gray, what you're saying is you're in this relationship and you look and see some text messages and you realize he's up to no good.
Yes, so that's why I went with my ex. We didn't have no protection.
With your ex?
Yes.
The alleged dad stated that baby mama dropped the bomb about him not fathering the baby on the phone call. And the excuse she had for being promiscuous was she wanted to have something new. She could not blame the man now.
When she called and told me from the doctor's office that she was having a baby. So we're on the phone. I'm talking about, oh, we're gonna put this together. I'm gonna change. I quit cheating and all that. That was going through my mind. That's what I'm telling her. And then she pauses me and goes, but it's not yours.
I told him, I said, I was with my ex and it's a possibility she may not be yours.
As it was evident that it was Miss Gray's fault that led them to this paternity mess, she did not stop putting on her defensive show. Further, she contended that she dumped Mr. Singleton because he deceived her. Miss, this does not give you a pass for sleeping around.
So now you are admitting that what he's saying is true. You told told him?
Yes, I told him. I believe the only reason why we're here today is so he can get a way out. All of a sudden, he wants to get a DNA test.
Well, Miss Gray, when you look at a man and tell him the baby is not his, I mean, that's a capital D for doubt.
He should have gave me a pass. He cheated on me.
Wow, the next revelation will sweep you off your feet. The defendant said that she never wanted to date a guy with a good reputation. All the men she wanted to date were thugs. Miss needed Judge Lake's advice so bad.
I understand, but I thought he was different. He wasn't, I'm used to dating thugs. I'm not used to dating good guys with the glasses and the good job. I'm used to going after guys that hustling, and that's what I like. My ex is in jail right now.
Let me give you a little woman tip. Go after the ones with the glasses and the good jobs.
However, it was slipped that Miss Gray changed her mind when her ex got arrested and told the plaintiff that he was the father of her baby. But the baby mama did not let the man play and disclosed his cheating like this.
After telling you the baby was not yours, she had to have told you that the baby was yours.
Exactly.
When did this happen?
The guy went to jail. So then all of a sudden, here come the new story. Oh, well, it's your baby. I added the months up right, and this is actually your baby. So incongruous with how I felt the first time.
Incongruent?
Yes.
Even though both sides had their deceiving hats on, the bummer was that they were ignoring the baby at hand. This made Judge Lake furious, so she jumped into the situation and reminded them that they have something more important to discuss despite their flaws.
Now you telling him he's cheating. He's telling you you're cheating.
Tit for tat, though.
And cheating and cheating and
They don't make it right.
It is so tit for tat. And the most ridiculous part of it is that you all are stuck on the tit for tat and not understanding that you got a child here that doesn't want any part of that game.
Despite the tit-for-tat situation, the baby mama accused Mr. Singleton of being promiscuous and exchanging kinky stuff with other females. On the other hand, the alleged chose to play the victim role, but Lauren cut his chase off like this.
We all got issues in here, right?
Everybody got issues. Who don't got issues?
Okay,
Who
look,
got issues?
Mr. Singleton, what does your research show about that? You got a point.
Here came the plot twist, which pushed the judge to her limits. When she asked the man about cheating, he clowned. But once the judge reminded him that he was in Lake's court, he changed his mind and confessed that he was a playboy.
Since you put a ring on Miss Gray's finger, have you cheated?
In what sense of the word do you mean cheating?
Let me tell you something. We don't need you to use your book sense, use your common sense. I asked you an easy question. Now give me the hard answer.
Yes, Your Honor, I have been talking to other females while I have been married.
Have you had sex with anyone else
No,
since
ma'am.
you've been married?
Finally, it was time to hear from a witness. Miss Smith testified that Mr. Singleton was a habitual liar, and she had caught him red-handed several times with different women. Uh-oh. Well, this has ruined their relationship. Both were perfect deluders.
He is a habitual liar, okay?
Seriously?
For one, before he got married, we worked together and he was flirting with the girls, okay? The second time, after the marriage, okay, I walk in, nobody's right there. You go to the room, laying on their back, a stripper on top of him, no underwears, no bra, all in his face.
However, all the accusations of the witness proved right, as the defendant admitted the charges. But things flared up when she claimed that Mr. Singleton was not the man that he professed to be, like this.
The point is that Mr. Singleton is not the stand-up guy he professes to be.
He's putting on a persona.
How can I be a
And Ms. Simmons, what are you hoping for today?
I'm hoping that the other guy is the father. I'm hoping that
Why?
he
Why
has
she wants to do
nothing
that? Because I
to
love
do with
Maurice
her.
regardless.
I understand she loved him.
As it was obvious that both parties were cheating on each other, but no one was ready to drop their assertions, Judge Lake brushed them off and announced the results for baby Ariana.
Mr. Singleton, you are not her father. If you all decide you're not gonna be married, if you decide you're gonna walk away and you don't wanna be with Miss Gray anymore, that's your business. But you better be man enough to look yourself in the mirror and say, you knew good and well there was a large chance that this child wasn't yours.
A case was brought in the court where a woman wanted to prove the paternity of her daughter to the boyfriend, and he had denied the baby and wanted the results to change his mind. Otherwise, he would throw both of them out of his life. So to get him the closure, a DNA test is required.
Mr. Osborne, you admit to being a father figure in Paisley's life, but say when the paternity results prove you are not her biological father, you are done with Ms. Damon and her baby for good. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
The plaintiff explained how things had affected her relationship with her boyfriend and shared the feelings they had discovered the daunting news. Things are bad here.
We both have this doubt in the back of our mind. We don't speak of it, but it's there. We know it. I found out that I was pregnant. I told him, and we just both had like a look of fear in our eyes, like, what did we do?
The defendant replied how he found out about the infidelity through this. The judge asked them about the meddling person, and Ms. Damon said this to add confusion to the discussion. Well, it was a surprise.
You got some text messages. So, Mr. Osborne, you received a text that said Jillian might be pregnant, and she said it's another guy's. Just thought I'd let you know. Also, she's been blank, guy 2, out in blank, and guy 3. But there are new people she's been blanking.
The plaintiff explained the move of her best friend to the judge and shocked the whole court. Tit for tat, and the bestie has stabbed her back.
So why would your friend text message your boyfriend just to let him know that there are potentially 3 other guys?
She did to me what I did to her.
Oh, so you did this to her once upon a time?
Something similar.
Mr. Osborne, when you get a text like that, and then the next day you find out Ms. Damon is actually pregnant, there really is no joy.
No.
Mr. Osborne replied to the judge's question about the birth certificate. The question erupted in a whole fight between them about their embarrassment issues. Don't know why the defendant did this still after the doubt.
My friends were in the room and you said you did not want to sign the birth certificate. Why did you hold my leg? Why did you drive me to the hospital? Why were you there through the whole thing? Why did you stay and not leave the hospital for 2 days?
I want to be there for the little things.
So there's no need to do all this and get attached to her.
You should have just...
The judge had to bring the plaintiff's best friend in to clarify the doubts she created in the story. To everyone's surprise, the bestie had every proof with her.
She tried to mess up my relationship. I told her boyfriend at the time what she had been doing.
So do you have any proof that she was sleeping with other men?
Yes, she told me in Facebook messages and she told me in person.
Did you bring any of these messages?
Yes.
The proof was discussed clearly by the judge in the court in detail. The judge made this comment about the evidence. Yeah, that was a classic cheating demeanor.
I'm about to wait till he falls asleep and go to another guy. The next morning, did you go? She responds, yes, girl, I've been up all night. He's still sleeping. If Elliot asks, I'm with you right now. That's what Ms. Damon said. Everybody in this gallery has either cheated or been cheated on.
The best friend added another cheating scenario to put the plaintiff in trouble. Bestie's involvement being the witness was also questioned, and her response made everyone laugh. Well, at least someone was being faithful.
How do you know this, Miss Taylor?
I was there with her with one man.
So you
What happened?
condoning her cheating on me?
Yes, I was.
Probably because you was doing the same thing.
I was faithful to my man, but I supported her cheating on you, very much so.
So she told you what?
That she was cheating on him.
Now the bestie had to explain the cheating story in front of everyone to prove her point. The judge asked Mr. Osborne about his whereabouts during all this fuss, and he gave a funny response. Sure, your sleep will be gone after all this.
Every time she got a chance, she would go to one guy's house in particular, and if he didn't answer, there was another one that she attempted to sleep with, but he had a girlfriend already.
What is going on here? You just ringing doorbells like Little Red Riding Hood or something, just ringing doorbells. So is this true?
No, it's not.
Now the judge discussed the conception dates to figure out the real truth. To this, Miss Damon denied her actions, which led to an argument with her best friend, and she called herself this. Wow, she admitted herself to be a people pleaser.
I told them both what they wanted to hear. That's how I handled everything. Just please people.
To please people?
Yeah.
So you're a people pleaser?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's your problem. Mr. Osborne, you are the father.
A woman dragged her ex into the court and wanted to prove the paternity of her daughter and sued him for $5,000 for not paying child support for 2 years and said he had only paid $100 for their both kids. The defendant denied his financial help to Miss Arbogast because he wasn't sure of his paternity. To get the facts straight, We need a DNA test.
If you say $100 over 2 years helping, then, I mean, if that's in his eyes, yeah.
$100 over 2 years?
No, he hasn't really helped at all.
You haven't been helping at all, Mr. Vest?
No, because how can I take care of somebody's daughter that may or may not be mine?
So you have another baby too?
Yes.
And there's no question as to the paternity of that child?
No, Your Honor.
But do you help financially with that child?
I have in the past, but recently, no, I have not.
The judge asked the plaintiff's boyfriend about Mr. Vess's support for children, and he shared that he had hardly paid for them. Miss Arbogast said the kids now know Mr. Fritz was their dad, and claimed that the defendant signed the birth certificate and then disowned the baby. She explained her relationship with Mr. Vess, and now listens and laughs at his crazy thoughts on friendships.
Our date of conception was between August 11th and August 13th. Then he told me I couldn't be friends with somebody I had been friends with for 9 years. He told me if you to go have sex with him, that's the only way to break your emotional connection. And I have witnesses, plenty of witnesses.
Miss Arbogast said Mr. Vess knew about her hookup at that time and was cool about it, and even asked her to come back home. But the defendant denied it and said it was all out of anger. Then the plaintiff admitted sleeping with the other guy, but said she was already pregnant at that time and explained the conception dates with Mr. Vess. What on earth are they doing?
So you used protection with the other guy?
Yeah, but I was already pregnant at the time I had sex with this other man. He's sitting on the couch in the hospital, holding her. After she's born, he held her before I held her.
Yeah, I thought she was my daughter until you told me that she wasn't.
I never once told you she wasn't your daughter.
The defendant replied to the judge that he signed the birth certificate because he thought the kid was his. Upon this, Ms. Arbogast shared the shattering truth that her son didn't recognize the defendant as the father. Ugh, it hurts to see something like this. But this revelation led to a fight in the courtroom.
So you signed the birth certificate, Mr. Vess?
Yes, Your Honor, because I thought it was mine. I thought she was mine.
I wanted him to also be a father to our son. If you were a constant role in his life, I'm not gonna just let you take our son when you haven't been around, because that is not comfortable with me. He knows me. He knows my boyfriend. He knows my family.
How long?
The plaintiff continued, saying that she never denied Mr. Vess's paternity and even asked him to do a DNA test, but he rejected it. He was an absent father, so what was he fighting for? Miss Arbogast also brought proof to further devalue his statements here. This led to an argument between both parties.
You say it's pathetic that you still don't want to grow up and claim your daughter that you signed the birth certificate for. Mr. Vess responds, I would claim that thing if I knew she was mine. Miss Arbogast says, oh, so now she's just a thing. That could potentially be your daughter.
I shouldn't have said it. I was angry. And yeah, I regret saying that. I do.
The judge asked Mr. Vess about the resemblance of both kids, and he again denied his daughter. Upon this, the plaintiff assured her paternity claim, and regarding the doubts of another guy, she said she did it to make him happy. Well, that's an amusingly faulty reason, but we'll accept it. Upon the question of hope, Miss Arbogast shared a crushing moment with her son. It was cruel to a kid, and now to end this war, the results are revealed.
Mr. Vess, you are the father.
I see.
My ruling is for the plaintiff for $5,000.
Been pregnant at the same time. Quite odd. Believe it or not, but Mr. Barber had pulled such a stunt off. And we all know such juggling doesn't go on for long, because his baby mamas are up his throat for not giving the children the attention they deserve.
I believe that he supports his other child because he's still sleeping with his other child's mother. He had 3 women pregnant at the same time. He is a dog. He doesn't do anything for my child. I have to take care of my child by myself. Excuse me, I'm talking. I am talking. You do not interrupt me when I'm talking.
Okay,
shut your mouth.
Let's
right
settle
now.
down.
Ooh, Miss Taylor was all charged up. She wouldn't let the defendant interpret a bit. The enraged woman testified to the court that her baby lacked a father figure for the past 5 years, while his father was busy with more babies with other women. And Miss Johnson backed her up.
He won't take mine. He says, I'm too difficult. I don't feel I'm difficult. She's not difficult.
And I should not have to sleep with my child's father just for him to take care.
What's the problem? Like, take care of your kids.
Women have to do with them taking care of my children.
Anybody has to take
It
care
has
of
nothing
it.
to do
does
with
because
my
it shows how you
child.
treat your
Mr.
children.
Barber, let's get some order. Let's get some order.
As the trial proceeded, the defendant claimed that he never denied any of his children, as he had signed all the birth certificates, which was true. But it wasn't about such things. The whole riff was about Mr. Barber denying them his attention.
I had my daughter by myself. My mother's deceased. My family could not get there. He was not there. I called him and told him that I was being induced. He came. He stayed for 24 hours. You know, when you get induced, you never know when the baby's gonna come. He stayed for the first 24 hours and he left. I called him and I said, I'm 10 centimeters. I'm getting ready to push. He didn't come.
I gotta say, giving birth to a child with the father nowhere in sight is quite tricky. And while Miss Taylor's recollecting about it, we feel really bad for her. On the contrary, the defendant was not ready to be labeled as a baddie in the situation.
But I didn't show up. I wasn't there.
You did not come
hours
until hours
I didn't
later.
show up, but why?
You did
why?
not come until
Why?
hours
What did I tell you I was
later.
doing?
What were you doing?
What was I doing? I was at work.
I don't know. You always lie. You always lie and say that you somewhere and you
I don't have to lie to you about where I'm at.
This is an emotional subject.
Emotional subject indeed. All the screaming and blaming did make the bitterness these parents had towards each other. However, things were not sweet between Johnson and Barber either, as the baby daddy might have cut the cord, but he was busy with another woman while mommy was in labor.
He cut the umbilical cord, but even when I was in labor in the delivery room, he was on the phone with her and other women in front of my family.
Mom, I wasn't with you when we had my child. I was not with you.
No,
yes, I was there for my child. I cut the umbilical cord. Yes, I admit that I was not a good parent person.
Sitting there talking with me.
I admit that. I'm not saying that I was the perfect person. I'm not saying that.
Wow, these people are loud. These exes are clearly up each other's throats. No one's ready to cut each other slack. In terms of his outburst, James confessed that ghosts of his past were still haunting him, even though he was trying his best to be a good father.
Yes, I've done some things, and I'm not perfect. No, I fall very short of that. But these women know that I love my children, and they know that.
You don't show it.
How don't I show it? I just took my baby out 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, because
for you. What are you talking about? No, you know it had nothing to do with that. It had nothing to do with that.
Let's get some order.
Yeah, whatever dynamic they both have going on is unhealthy. Man, talk about having no respect for each other. And just imagine that there are children involved in this mess. Judge, knock some sense into them, please.
You two go to speak. I took a moment to just observe you. I mean, you go to not level 10, level 20 in a matter of 2 seconds. And there's no understanding, no compromise when you all are going at each other like that. And you all make me uncomfortable watching you yell and scream. I can only imagine what a child would feel like.
The judge did speak our mind in the courtroom. But anyway, all the commotion had to do with them being so young when they started having children, while they were children themselves. But now Dad was trying to make up for lost time.
I signed the birth certificates. I never asked none of these women for paternity tests. I don't love my children. I don't want to be there for my children. No.
Because you said your father always told you. Repeat that.
My father always told me if you can't do anything for yourself, how can you do anything for anybody else?
Why put yourself in the position when you're making children that you'll have to take care of?
Ain't no one should be making babies when they're not in the position of taking care of themselves. Shifting to the plaintiff, Miss Taylor claimed though the mister at the podium was telling his success story, he was nothing but a deadbeat.
Miss Taylor,
Yes,
has
Your
he
Honor.
sent anything to help you with your child?
He bought my daughter 2 packs of diapers.
And how old is your daughter?
My
Never
daughter
got that.
is 5 years old.
I never got 2 packs. I never got a pack.
And Ms. Johnson, you saying you never got...
He never bought my son no diapers. I made do whatever I had to do to get my son diapers. He bought my son 3 pairs of shoes and 3 outfits.
Ugh, that is sad indeed now. Let's get to the part where at the tender age of 18, he had gotten 3 women pregnant. Speaking of which, it was about time that we got the 3rd baby mama in. The irony was that Miss Comper's child wasn't neglected at all.
I honestly feel like that it's not about the kids for them. It's more about they're bitter because things didn't work out for them how they planned. And I kind of feel like they had the kids out of spite. I feel like they're still in love with James.
After listening to both sides, it was clear that this lot had to put the past in the past and move forward for the better future of their kids. But getting back to the case, let's see what Judge Lake has to say about all this.
Mr. Barber, seeing as though you have acknowledged this child, signed his birth certificate, you have a responsibility to share in those expenses. And for that reason, I am awarding Ms. Johnson the $3,880 she's requesting for this court judgment for Ms. Johnson.
Riding on the same ride, Marcel is back again for the 3rd time with the same question, but with a different woman. Doesn't this guy get tired of doing the same thing over and over again? Well, anyway, let's see how the whole thing started.
I met her on the website. I was looking for love, and I went to a website, and I ran into Crystal. 4 or 5 months into it, started getting suspicious about certain things. She gave me her voicemail, and I hear dudes in the background.
I gave my voicemail, Pastor, because I wasn't doing anything.
Okay, yeah, true that. But then dudes are leaving voicemails to her, talking about, oh, you sexy.
You had girls leaving voicemails on your phone and calling you.
All right. And all of this is coming from the guy who had 8 children from 5 different baby mamas. Easy to point fingers, ain't it? The irony was the woman in question had no idea about Mr. Scott's prior affairs. For her, the plaintiff was just the man of her dreams.
He honest with you about how many children he had?
No, he was not.
Yes, I was. I don't lie about my kids.
I only thought
So
that he had 5.
you didn't know that Mr. Scott had 2 3-year-olds, 2 6-year-olds,
No, I
a
did not.
7-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 13-year-old.
She knew about all my kids. She knew
I
about
only
all
knew
my
about
kids.
5 kids.
8 months of relationship and a baby in the mix, and a doubt of paternity. What a mess! Mr. Scott had a whole thing going on with posing to be a rich Hollywood guy looking for love. But isn't this what he also had going on the last time he was here?
I wouldn't
Mr.
say it was
Scott.
love. On the internet site that I met him on, he wanted basically the same things I was looking for.
So, Ms. Kalan, you find out you're pregnant.
Uh-huh.
And then what?
He was happy. He said,
yeah.
quote unquote, oh, mommy, we're going to be a family.
Your Honor, when he came to Michigan, he was calling me mommy.
That's what we agreed on.
And
After taking a look at that, now let's get to the doubt part. There has to be a reason for putting up the whole show. Well, it turns out, after some time of cyber dating, when Mr. Scott got to meet his new girlfriend, she was confused about cheating.
She would have told me this before I came. There wouldn't have been no
At the
situation.
end of the day,
She named the baby
that's
honest.
why we're here, is because you claimed that she was intimate with this gentleman and you at the same time.
Of course she was,
And
'cause she didn't even
therefore
want-
you have doubt concerning the paternity of
Of
her
course, because
child.
she didn't even tell me. She named the baby Honesty Love.
You admit that you cheated.
I cheated on Marcel. It was only one time.
Yeah, it only takes one time. However, the guy Miss Smith cheated with confessed that it was more than once. This made the plaintiff go like the baby is being pinned on me. As far as we've seen, this man Scotty is good at his game.
Why you doubt her?
It's only because of him. Because
Just
she lied.
because of this man.
Because she lied.
Any-
And then she told me while she pregnant, she said, I'm still having sex with him. He's a better daddy than you.
I didn't say
She
that.
went-
I
but
said that
did she
because
have
I
sex
know
with
how to
another
get
dude?
underneath his skin.
It doesn't
Because
make
he calls
sense.
and cusses me out. He still tries
You
to
cannot
control
be
me
doing-
throughout the last year that he disappeared on me.
And then what happened to your relationship?
After I admitted I cheated with him, he pretty much disappeared on me.
I didn't
I didn't
disappear. I
talk
was
to
there for a
him
month. I
throughout
came back in
the whole
October.
pregnancy.
But there's a twist in the story. Turns out that this baby wasn't something unexpected just from messing around between 2 people, but rather this baby was planned. Interesting. Quite a part to be left out.
Do you think that you all are going to raise this baby together? You're posting on Facebook. I can't
did.
wait to find out what we're having. That means you and Mr. Scott.
I thought that we were going to get past what had happened. We were talking about getting past it and getting over it. Once I told him I was pregnant, we fought for about another month afterwards, and then he changed his phone number on me, his Facebook, everything. He changed everything on me. I didn't talk to Marcel until I was like 8 or 9 months.
The adorable baby was stuck in quite a dilemma. Then the judge called up a witness who testified that the plaintiff was all show and no go. She further added that the con man had not paid a penny during his visits, while Crystal here took care of all the expenses.
And he's a deadbeat.
Tell me again.
He comes to Michigan. Crystal paid for everything. He was so controlling. I offered for them to stay at my house so they didn't have to spend no money. He said, oh no, I got this. I'll pay for the hotel. Well, it turns around, Crystal paid for the hotel. He would not let Crystal leave the hotel. We had family cookouts so that he could get to know the family.
This brought up the defendant's claim about money, as she was looking for reimbursement for the money that she paid for Mr. Hotshot at the podium, while Miss Smith had all the receipts, and the plaintiff had nothing but smooth talk to back up his claims.
The podium's looking mighty empty, but
I don't
do you
need no
have some
documents.
receipts
I don't need no documents.
for
The truth
what
is right here.
you paid for as it relates to this trip?
Well, if I knew all this would come down, then I would have prepared myself a little more.
You should have prepared yourself.
But
You
it
bring
don't even
everybody
matter,
to
because
court.
I don't even need no
Mr.
documents.
Well, third time's the charm isn't gonna work on this one, trust me. Because we know one day he'll probably be back, and the judge knew it too. That's why the judge calculated all the amounts he had squeezed out of the poor baby mama and gave the verdict.
And I also don't have any evidence from you that you paid half of the $410 hotel expenses.
I don't owe
So
her nothing.
my
That was my woman.
ruling is for the defendant on
That's
this
my woman.
counterclaim in the amount of $684.50.
That was
You
my
owe
woman.
her.
Yeah, there's no talking out of this jumble. and now even the judge was done with the baby daddy and his antics. None of his rambling was useful to Judge Lake. That's why she moved on to the part we were all waiting for.
In the case of Scott versus Smith, as it pertains to 3-month-old Honesty Smith, Mr. Scott, you are her father.
Told
Who couldn't
you.
keep their legs closed?
Take care of your baby.
With 2 women at each side of the podium, this man was stuck in a love triangle that led to a paternity feud. And we all know how easy it is to deny a child whose mother isn't your boo anymore.
If anyone needs a DNA test, he needs to get one for the other child.
What other child?
My child.
She just had a child 2 months ago.
You saying if he needs a DNA test, it's for that child?
Yes.
What's going on with that?
She has been known to sleep around while in relationships.
You heard the woman. It's not her baby who needs a DNA test, but rather the cherished girlfriend, because she was famous for pulling infidelity stunts on many men in the past. And paternity court had witnessed that firsthand.
In this particular hearing, you pretty much admitted to the fact that you had had sex with several members of the same family.
Yes.
And there were 2 men in court at that time, and the man who believed he was your child's father was determined not to be.
Correct.
Easy to blame other people, right? Unfortunately, she was on the same course again, as while Miss Fuentes was on the 3-day break for Mr. Pack, the woman slept with her ex, and just 3 weeks after, Miss Fuentes was pregnant. So, doubt does make sense.
When you slept with your ex, did you use protection?
No, I did not.
Was that within the window of time your child was conceived?
It was.
And this is baby Anthony.
Anthony, yes.
And so you admittedly say that during the window of time baby Anthony was conceived, you had gotten to an argument with Mr. Pack and you slept with your ex.
Yes.
Mr. Pack rightfully wasn't sure if the baby was his, but the baby mama had the same tune playing again. You know, the baby looks so much like the defendant. The only part is that looks can be deceiving. But anyway, let's get back to this triangle part.
We ended up getting back together, and she ended up telling me that when we was broken up, she went to her ex's house and slept with him. So it brings me a big concern on whether he is mine or not.
The way I feel about it is if you've seen my other 2 kids, they look identical. The one with the man that I slept with, my ex. This baby looks nothing like them. He looks like him. I know that baby is his.
Yeah, just kick the guy away, and he'll go out making more babies and baby mamas. What's wrong with people these days? The unusual part was that Mr. Pack didn't deny Miss Hummel's baby at first. He was actually quite excited.
As soon as I found out I was probably about 5-6 weeks pregnant, he looked at the pregnancy test and he almost started crying.
Because he was so excited.
Yes.
Do you remember this day, Mr. Pack?
Yes, I do.
And you were excited?
Yes, during the time I was excited.
Because you thought it was your child?
Yes, Your Honor. Somebody tells me that there's possibly it could be mine, so it's my first kid.
I'm sure you're all going like, where did all the excitement go just then? Such a drastic change of heart? Well, according to the plaintiff, it was the time when she broke up with a baby daddy. But Miss Fuentes testified otherwise.
At what point does Mr. Pack start acting like he doesn't want any parts of the pregnancy?
As soon as we broke up.
No, that's not what happened. He came to my house when they broke up 3 days later, and as we're going down the street to my friend's house, we saw her walking out of a house with another man. So he has reasonable doubt to think that this baby is not his.
So the guy at the podium believes that it was more than one man who could be the potential father of the kid. Mr. Pack even had a conception calendar to prove the smack dab of the breakup and the conception date.
Oh, so you're saying this entire time from January all the way till April, so you're right, that breakup came like, what, May? Around May?
Yep.
But you're saying throughout the time that he has outlined that you were broken up, you were really together?
Yes, we were.
Confusion, right? Well, anyhow, Mr. Pack testified that though they were living together, they were sleeping in different beds. Baby mama, however, denied such a dynamic. So, the judge moved on to the steeping up part.
In this 7 months Lola has been on this earth, has Mr. Pack had any involvement with her?
Absolutely not.
Yes, he has.
Yes, I have.
Has you seen her?
Your Honor, and the DNA test is all I ever wanted. That baby's not mine, so I'm not going to sit here and spend my time and energy and my money on a baby I don't believe that's mine.
So, he got no energy or time for the baby that might not be his. Well, how about being big enough to be there for a kid that might be yours? But that's what we're all here for, isn't it? To find that closure for the children. So let's find out the truth hiding in that envelope.
In the case of Hummel versus Pack, when it comes to 8-month-old Lola Hummel, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Pack, you are the father.
I told you.